Hey everyone, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thanks as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. In today's video, I'm going to give you a side-by-side comparison of all of Nespresso's current offers for single-serve espresso brewing in your own at-home coffee shop. We're going to be talking about the Nespresso Essenza single-serve machine. I have the Nespresso U. I have the Nespresso Pixie and the Nespresso Citiz. Four really great machines, all with differing functions and capabilities. We're going to tell you all about the differences between them, and we'll brew a little bit of espresso to show you how a couple of them work and show you some differences. So let's dive right in, talk about these four great machines from Nespresso. All right, let's start at the bottom to compare all of these machines, just as we always do. We'll start over here with the Citiz, and really all three of the machines that I have in the center right here, their trays are all removable and give you the ability to get some extra clearance in order to be able to brew with larger tumblers. In comparison to the Essenza machine, this one does not give you very much clearance. If you remove this tray, which you can do, you are going to be accessing the pod collection tray, which is on the bottom of the machine, but you cannot give yourself extra clearance to brew into a larger tumbler. So that's the big difference between these machines. Pretty much the same on all of them. They all have pod collection trays, but on the Essenza, you don't get a whole lot of clearance for being able to brew into larger tumblers. And of course, the tray for each of these doubles as a collection tray. Each one of these machines does have a collection tray for spent capsules. Each one will collect somewhere between 10 to 14 spent capsules. It's pretty easy to access on pretty much all of these machines. A little bit harder to grab out from the Nespresso U, but still pretty easy. And then over here, of course, on the Essenza, I've already showed you that one just simply pulls out. So all these machines do feature a collection tray for spent Nespresso pods. Let's talk about the power buttons on each of these machines because it is different on each of them. On the Citiz, the power button is on the left-hand side right here, and it's just a simple power button, just on-off. On the Pixie, the power button is on the top of the machine and you just press it down in order to power the machine on. On the U, it does not have a physical power button. In fact, in order to turn it on, you just simply move the capsule holder backwards and forwards, and that turns the machine on if it's turned off. That'll also start the brew process, so I'm not going to do that right now because we will show you brewing in a moment. And then over here on the Essenza, the power button is just located right here on the front of the machine. So easy access for all of these, but as you can see, each one does power on in a different fashion. Brewing with each of these machines is probably where there's the most difference between each machine because it is a little bit different, especially on these smaller machines on my right-hand side. So again, starting here with the Citiz, this machine has the capability to do single and double shots, and the buttons for doing that are both located on the very top of the machine. In order to start brewing, you just simply press one of those buttons and you'll start brewing. That's pretty much the same on the Pixie, where it can do a single and a double shot, and all you need to do is press one of those buttons in order to access the brewing function. Now, where things get a little bit different is over here on the U and the Essenza. On the U, we simply choose a brew size, and there are 3 different brew sizes to be found on the U. And this is different from all of the Nespresso machines, in fact. You're going to notice I have 3 buttons right here. Each of these is touch sensitive. It's not a physical push button. I just simply press my finger on it in order to change the brew size that I would like to use. You've got a lungo, you have a ristretto, and an espresso. Or should I say lungo, espresso, and ristretto going down from the top to the bottom. So that's very different with the U as compared to all of the Nespresso machines. And then moving over to the Essenza, things are a little bit different when it comes to actually brewing because we only have one brew button. And this brew button is going to allow you to start the brewing process, but it also is what you use to stop the brewing process of your espresso. So again, big difference between all of these machines. The Essenza does not have an automatic brewing option. You press that button, you brew as much as you want, and you stop the brew process. The rest of these machines have an automatic brewing option. You simply press a button and they will put as much water through your Grand Cru capsule as you would like to brew as is also set either by you when it comes to programming the machine or set by Nespresso when they factory ship the machine. So a little bit different. All three of these offering an automatic option, and the Essenza does not have fully automatic. You actually have to control the size of your espresso shot. Let's talk about how you put a capsule into each of these machines, because it is a little bit different on each one. On the Citiz, it makes use of this plunger system in which you just simply open up this lever on the top of the machine and you drop your Grand Cru capsule into it, puncture that, and then you start brewing. Over here on the Pixie, it's a little bit different, where you have sort of the same operation, but that brew chamber is accessed by pulling on this handle. You drop your capsule into there and then close this up and puncture that capsule. On the U, it uses a system which is totally different from any of these machines because it is fully automatic. You simply open up the brew lever here on the top, pop your capsule in, close it up, and it does everything automatically for you. So you don't even actually puncture the Grand Cru capsule using the Nespresso U. It does that work for you. So this is the most automatic of all of these machines. It's a very cool feature on this one, and I'll show it to you in action because, again, if I open the brew chamber right now, I'm going to start brewing. That's just because the machine is fully automatic. Finally, over here on the Essenza, it's a little bit different than the U because it also makes use of that lever-based system. So this is very much like the Citiz. You again drop that capsule in, close it down, and puncture your capsule. So definitely some different options when it comes to how you make use of capsules on these machines. The U being the most automatic and the most drop capsule in, walk away, and come back to coffee option that you can have. Let's talk about the water tanks on each of these machines because they are each different as we move along from machine to machine. Let's start off with the Citiz. The Citiz has a 34-ounce water tank. It's the biggest of all of these machines, and it attaches very easily to the back of the unit. The Pixie has a 24-ounce water tank. Again, it attaches very simply to the back of the unit, has this fold-up sort of tray on the top to keep the water in. On the U, this has the smallest water tank of any of the machines. It's 27 ounces. This one attaches in a very cool way that's different from all the other machines. It actually stays on there with magnets. There's a set of magnets on the bottom of the tank, and those magnets keep it attached. Now, another big difference is that as opposed to all of these machines, on the U, we can move the water tank around. It can actually rotate around the back, to the back of the unit or to the side. So it's a cool space-saving feature, very different from all of the other machines. And the lid on this just stays on with a little silicone ring on the top. And then finally over here on the Essenza, we have a 30-ounce tank. It's a little bit different because it's the only one with a little carrying handle on it, which is kind of useful, and it just attaches to the back of the machine. So you can see there's definitely a difference between each of the tanks. Biggest difference here is the U's tank, which again stays on with magnets and is of course the smallest of all of the Nespresso machines. All right, so let me show you the operation of a couple of these machines. As I say, the machine which is the most different in operation is the Nespresso U. So I'm going to show you that one in action, and then I'm going to show you the Nespresso Pixie in action because it's very similar, especially to the Citiz. And then over here on the Essenza, the only major difference, as I say, is that the Essenza is a little more manual when it comes to the brewing process. So let's brew with the U to start off with. First thing I need to do, before I even open my brew chambers, I need to choose the brew size I would like to do. So I'm just going to do an espresso size shot, and I'm going to place my shot glass. And now all I need to do is open up the brew chamber, take my Grand Cru capsule, drop this into the brew chamber, and just close it up. The machine is going to do all the work for me right here. It punctures that capsule, it knows how much water it should inject into that capsule, and does essentially everything for you. So the U is an entirely automated and completely automatic version of any of these machines. It's got the simplest process. You can see it even ejects the spent pod and drops it into the pod collection tray for me. So this machine is truly set, brew, walk away, and come back to a cup of coffee. That's pretty awesome. So let's brew now with the Pixie. Again, on the Pixie, we only have 2 brew sizes that we choose from. We open up the brew chamber with that handle, we drop our capsule into the brew chamber, and then we close it up to puncture it. Now, we can program the length of the draw that we're going to do on the Pixie and the Citiz. So these may be programmed a little bit differently just because we use them here in the studio and we've programmed them a couple times, but you can choose to make the single shot button make more than a single shot of espresso. But I'm just going to go ahead and press the single shot button now on top of the machine and let it brew. Now, we should mention the pressure pump type on all of these machines. The pressure pump for each of these machines is 19 bars of pressure. So that's 4 bars above what is the usual suggested pressure for an espresso machine, which is great because you're going to get a lot more pressure. You're going to need that pressure in order to get the right brew out of your capsule. So you have 19 bars of pressure in each of these machines. Now you can see, again, as I say, I've programmed my single shot to be a little bit longer on the Nespresso Citiz. Usually that machine would have stopped brewing a little bit before what I actually got out of it. But that is cool. You can program this machine. The Essenza and the U, not so much programmable, but the U, of course, offering a lot of automatic feature. And the Essenza, you can really just choose the length of your draw, of course. So that's operation of 2 of these machines. As I say, the Citiz is the Pixie is very similar to the Citiz in its overall operation, and they are both very similar to the Essenza. And the U offers the most automatic option that you're going to get out of an espresso single-serve espresso machine. Let's talk about pricing on all of these machines. The Citiz is the most expensive, coming in at $249 at the making of this video. It's also definitely the biggest of any of the Nespresso machines. Moving on to the Pixie, we've got $229 retail, and definitely a little bit smaller than the Citiz. Moving here on to the U, it retails about $199, very well priced for all those automatic options that you get with this machine, I think. And then moving over to the Essenza, we're looking at $129 suggested retail price. So the Essenza, definitely the least expensive of any of these machines, also has essentially the least amount of features. The U, for being very moderately priced, offers the most automatic features you're going to find out of any of these machines. It is definitely, as I say, the drop a capsule, walk away, and come back to a shot of espresso option, really easy to make use of. The Pixie and the Citiz also very close to that fully automatic option that you get with the U. They do require a little bit more interaction with the machine, of course, but the pricing on these is also pretty good. If you're looking for something that's really going to be the granddaddy of these machines when it comes to size, profile, things like that, probably going to want to take a look at the Citiz. If you're looking for machines that are very small and easy to fit on your countertop, the Pixie, the U, and the Essenza are all going to fill that need very, very easily. If you're looking for something with the most automatic options, again, the U is your machine to go for. And if you're looking for something to just get into the world of single-serve espresso, the Essenza is probably going to be the easiest way to do that, and definitely the least expensive way to do that at $129 retail price. So there you go, guys. That's a quick overview of all 4 of Nespresso's current offerings in the world of single-serve espresso brewing. I personally really like all of these machines. I've used them all very exclusively. I have to say the U is definitely stepping in as one of my favorite machines because of those fully automatic options that it has. But remember, this is all going to depend on how you like to brew your coffee in your own at-home coffee shop. So I hope that this has been useful to you guys, and as always, please make sure to stay in touch with us. Visit us at Aromacup.com, like this video, share it, comment on it, and of course subscribe to our channel. We love hearing from you guys here at Aromacup.com, so if you have questions, please be in touch with us. And as always, I'm Brian, coming to you from my virtual coffee shop, brought to you by Aromacup.com, and I'm reminding you guys to enjoy your cup or your shot of espresso, and I'll see you next time. Take care.